Okay.
Thank you.
So we'll wrap this up so you can get home and find out what kind of real trouble we're in. My name is Peter Clutterbuck. I'm a resident on Winona Drive, and they asked me to kind of help with the facilitation of the process tonight. I'll use the mic if you can't hear me, but usually I can project well enough. Can you hear me in the back there well enough? Yeah, good. So this arrangement tonight was about thinking about other possibilities. I know people are consumed with the urgency of the school situation, and we have trustees here who've been trying to keep us up to date on what the process is for the whole issue of the fate of Vaughan Road Academy. But we wanted you not to be worried about the decisions that are happening immediately or intermediately, because there's a process to try to manage that and get the best result for the community, which is to keep this space as an educational or a community asset in some kind, to repurpose it at least for other uses that are community benefit, as opposed to having it maybe sold off and turned into some other kind of commercial or condo type property. So that was the idea, is not to try to problem solve immediately what you got to do to kind of protect your space, but to imagine and think about the possible future of the space. So it was kind of a wide open offer for you to give your ideas around that. Now we actually organize it in a certain way that the individual facilitators, they arrive here. I was going to ask them to, since they were in all the sessions and I could only bounce around to them for 5 or 10 minutes at a time, I got some main ideas or summaries from what I heard, which is quite interesting, to me anyway. But I'm going to ask each of the facilitators to, since they were there for the full time, to maybe identify the 1 or 2 things that kept on coming up in their particular group. So I'm wondering who's ready to do that first. Would it be Sue? Or you're the collage person?
Okay. So thanks
1 or 2 things that you think came up over and over.
Okay. So thanks everybody for participating.
Why don't you use this? Why don't you use this?
Okay, thanks everyone for participating. So in the collage session, a few things that came up are education programs, so a variety of education programs for children, adults, continuing education, that kind of thing. Green living, eco-living, garden, greenscaping, that kind of thing. Senior services, and bringing together seniors and youth to help each other.
Thanks very much. Bill or Sue?
I want to look at all the pictures. Oh my gosh. Okay, so folks that were in this room, we were focusing on education and the specific site here, Vaughan Road, the building and the property. And so what we heard a lot of, which was pretty cool, was social incubators. So a place where you could have entrepreneurial type ideas co-located so they can grow ideas off of each other. There were variations on that theme. So if there was potentially still a student use somehow in this building, why not engage some of the ideas that those students have and use some of our first floor spaces, open it up to commercial and or office space, because we're on a major thoroughfare here. There were some interesting ideas with respect to seniors use and seniors in the area. So we had an idea come up with respect to seniors housing. It was very creative in terms of, could we do something with the parking lot, have a low-rise seniors facility here, put parking underneath? Very interesting. But the overarching feedback here was this needs to be kept for the community. Right? So almost every single idea was very much rooted in this needs to continue to be a community use. We had a lot of ideas about the different educational purposes that could be here, but the overarching theme was keep it in the community. Beth.
So we were social determinants of health, and a lot of what has already been said was discussed in our group too. I think I'd add a few things. There was a lot of talk about arts and culture, and people talked about this room that we're sitting in right now and what a loss it would be to tear this place down. We also heard about the history of this organization, how it played Von Road has played a very key role in the development of this community. We talked about strengths in our community and concerns, and some of the strengths that people talked about is how this community is a community that talks to each other, and people know each other on their streets, and this area, this group, this building could be a convening place for things like arts and culture, intergenerational activities with the children and grandparents and parents, and get different groups in the community gathering together. There was a lot of concerns around losing the pool, losing the daycare, which are vital services in this community. So, and as everybody else has said, everybody started from the assumption that we got to keep this place in the community. We can't just kind of go somewhere else and be taken over by who knows who, right? So that's what I would add to what everybody else has already said.
Somewhere someone's going to post an email address in case people want to...
Sign up.
Okay, sign up. Okay, so actually that's good. A lot of the comments made, the summaries were similar to, of course, naturally when I was bouncing around to the groups that I was getting. In fact, although they were organized under Parks and Recreation and education, or school, education, and healthy communities, in fact, in community they're...
We have one more table here.
Trish?
Trish.
Which table? Oh, Parks and Rec. I forgot.
Where's your graphic?
Jump up.
Come on down, Trish.
I would say I had a great, like all the roundtables that came through were fantastic. These are our sheets here. So much came out about the programming that people want to see kept in the community and also come in. You guys have already mentioned a lot of it, so having spaces for youth to learn new skills, like bike repair shops was huge. Seniors programming for socialization was also really big. A really key point that came through was just having the space. So right now we don't have a lot of space where people can come together, and they don't have to have focused programming for whatever, just a space you can come and socialize that's not outside. So that was another big theme. And then one thing I would like just for everyone to know is that we're going to take all this feedback and make some kind of a report back to the community so you can read all of your thoughts and your comments and your concerns. And we're going to be giving it to all of our politicians, all the agencies that were here tonight, so everybody can see this is what the community really wants for this site, which I think is important for all of us to hear our voices.
Each of the facilitators did a great job of identifying the highlights in their discussion, so I'm not going to repeat that. But there are a few themes that what was really interesting to me is it didn't matter which group you were in, the ideas were crossing over these kind of different boundaries, right? They were about a healthy and a safe community like this. At least first draft of what a vision statement might be for this community. If you just imagine it's 2006, and you're in this building now, the space around you brings you a sense of community, pride, and vibrancy. Everyone in this community feels included and safe, and that their social, economic, healthcare, and educational needs have been met. Tonight we begin to create this reality together. And when people were actually giving ideas, they weren't just shouting out this kind of thing. Just not ESL. Somebody in one of the Parks and Rec group talked about ESL. They started to tell a story about the people in the community who needed English language training. And they started to build on that in terms of not just English language training, but cultural interpretation available to people. That in fact there needed to be, this is such a diverse community that we needed to think of ways in which people were not just trained, but they were actually encouraged to kind of contribute their skills and abilities. The really interesting thing when people started to talk about what a community hub meant to them, it wasn't just about getting. The exact phrase in one of the groups was, it's giving and sharing. So this is a place that isn't just about co-locating a whole bunch of services that people are going to come and drain from. In fact, people are talking about getting supports from a place like this, but also contributing to a place like this. Contributing their skills and abilities. Some people volunteering their abilities to do home improvement, and skill building, and toy libraries and tool libraries. All the ways in which people might share the kind of facility that they have here. And there was a real sensitivity to the people and their needs. So when people talked about seniors, for example, and talked about the kind of senior supports, they started to describe the conditions that seniors were. Although this is a very mixed community, and although people know the neighbor, there are some people who are isolated, alone, at home, families overburdened with caregiving and needing some relief in that way. And there was a notion that families needed relief, and seniors needed not just to be homebound, but to be able to get out into their community. And this is the kind of place where, as somebody said, a place where anybody can go. A real opportunity, for example, a real sad loss that when talked about here in the education session is the fact that you have a childcare here for how many years? And the province is expanding its childcare spaces. And was your childcare essentially at risk because you might lose the space in which you have it? There's a tremendous opportunity to build in that childcare. And you actually have local intelligence in the form of a Learning Enrichment Foundation that's got to be around for 40 or 50 years now. It is actually an organization that not only can help with that kind of basic service, but some of the other things that kept on coming up, which was opportunities for young people and young entrepreneurs to maybe incubate their business idea, combine the academic with the business development of their employment, and no longer think in terms of silos, but create your own space where you can have all these things joined together. So over and over again, people told larger stories than just about getting services or having some place where people come to get. And I think that's the key thing. And the next time, I think this is a beginning point for you to start to frame your vision. I think the leadership group is going to study what you produced here tonight and frame maybe a vision that's even more robust than that one, bring it back to you, maybe with some plans about how to make that vision come true. So this is the first step in trying to get that picture from you. And I think the next few times that we meet at the end of the sessions, you're all going to be huddled in closer together because you'll know each other a little bit better. And through this leadership group here, you'll be staying connected. Okay? I don't know if there's any questions people want to ask the leadership.
Yeah, so open it up. I mean, why not? We can have some questions. We have the space until 8. We have some thank yous to do, but I don't want to presume that we've finished. So let's do another kind of 5-10 minutes, and then anybody that's in an orange shirt, yellow, apparently I'm colorblind, please come and help answer questions. That includes you two over there. Okay, yes?
Hi, I'm Dane. I live in the hood.
Hello, Dane in the hood. It's a good hood.
Do any of you know what happened up in North Toronto and what then school trustee Josh Batlow did, who's now city councillor? There was some issues there about closing the school. The school's property was redeveloped and condo building was built there, and the funds were used to